All right, so the last fight of the night, the main event, Izzy versus Vettori. Like it's hard to go against Izzy. It really is. I thought Costa was going to put pressure on him, kind of like Vettori did, and cause him to have a different type of fight, which could have possibly cost him to lose, and he didn't. He shut Costa down completely. I've had Vettori on the podcast a couple times already. I really like Vettori. I like his style, and I knew he was going to go out there and do what he did as far as being aggressive and going after Adesanya. And I think that it showed a lot. I think it showed a lot for both fighters, to be honest. Adesanya is just superior. He's a superior fighter. He's a superior grappler, striker, and he's improved his grappling tremendously. I mean, if you look at the first fight and you look at even the Jan fight, or Jan fight. Again, I'm not good with names. The Jan fight, he didn't do as much from the bottom to get up from there. And I know Jan was bigger, but he made a big difference tonight. There was a lot more work from the bottom to get up. I mean, you can tell he'd really worked on that a lot because he knew Vettori was going to have the ability to probably take him down, and he didn't want to stay on his back for very long because the longer you're on your back, you're losing the fight. He's on your back for 2 or 3 minutes of the fight, your round's gone. That easy. Vettori did get a couple takedowns. Couldn't do much with it because, like I said, Adesanya worked a lot better on the ground. Very impressive. That I didn't expect him to have improved that much since the Jan fight, and worked so hard to get up. I think a big reason from what I've noticed was Vettori kept his hips kind of high, and he didn't flatten himself out a little bit or enough. And I think he gave him too much space, in my opinion. My opinion's my opinion, same as you guys. So let me know if you disagree with me in the comments. But both 2 or 3 times that he did get the takedown, he got up when he gave him space, and I think he should have flattened him out a little bit more. It wouldn't have been exciting. He would have still had rabbit punches on the face, but he could have held him down a little bit better, controlling the hands. You have to have your hands to get your posture and get yourself up, and I think he postured up a little too much. And then in comparison to that, you can see how when Adesanya did reverse him and he got on top, he postured up, but he postured way up. Okay, there's a difference. When you're in BJJ and you're working on the ground, you don't want to be flat on your back, and you when you're on bottom, and when you are on bottom, it's easy to keep someone on their back if you're flattening them out and you're putting all your weight on top of them and you're crushing them down. Your hips are down, you're flattening yourself out, and you're making it hard. You're controlling the arms. But when you give them space, they're going to have room to turn. They're going to have room to shrimp. They're going to have room to make movements that are going to eventually get themselves out of that position, or at least get themselves into a better position, as we saw in the Figueiredo fight when he pulled Moreno into guard right after he got taken down. He did a great job of pulling Moreno into guard quite quickly and got himself in a better position because he had the space, or he made the space, actually. He didn't have the space. He made the space. And then Vettori, I think, didn't flatten him out enough. He got up every time. And I'll say hats off to Adesanya. One thing that was really great about this fight was the fact that Adesanya was very, very good defensively. To have someone pressuring you as much as Vettori, which I respect Vettori just as much for pressuring him and going after it, because he wasn't afraid. He didn't put him on a pedestal. He went straight after him. What Costa didn't do, what we hoped Costa would do, but he didn't do. And we hoped not that we wanted Costa to win, but we wanted a better fight. Vettori did put the pressure on him. He did chase him down. He did, go after him. But Adesanya just had such superior striking, and from a defensive standpoint where it's harder to have good striking, when you're going back, especially when Adesanya's back was against the cage, that's the hardest time to land good strikes. I mean, your back's against the cage. You can't back up. You're kind of flat on a wall. It's easier to get taken down when your back's against the cage because you can't sprawl, you can't get out of the way. And Vettori still couldn't take him down, and sometimes he wasn't even going for the takedown. But Adesanya was still landing strikes, landing really, really good strikes. He was just crisp and clean and did a fantastic job. And I knew by the time the fight was over that he won every round. He proved that he is the best middleweight out there, and I don't know. Honestly, after Vettori was kind of like the last person I thought at this stage right now that was going to have a chance to beat him by doing what he did initially with the takedowns, but just holding him down and possibly holding him down long enough to win each of those rounds. And he couldn't do that. And, it took a light heavyweight at 205 Jesus, the guy was probably like 220, 225 when they fought. That's what it took to hold someone like Adesanya down. And there's just no one with that strength and that size in the middleweight division. I think Adesanya called out Whitaker at the end. I don't see that fight going much different, to be honest. Adesanya's level of striking and his fight IQ is just on a different level. It's something that he couldn't use against Jan, because getting taken down by Jan could be the end of each round. So he had to be a lot more careful and cautious in that fight. And it was a huge risk for him to take that fight. But when he's fighting guys his own size or a little bit bigger, like Vettori, I think was, I don't see how they're gonna stop him with those strikes, with his feints, and like we saw in the Costa fight, he stopped Costa without even landing the strikes, just from his feints, just from his movement, because every time Costa was going to do something, Adesanya showed him that he was ready for that exact technique or whatever it was that he was going to do, and he was ready to catch him with it, and so it stopped Costa in his tracks, and he couldn't do anything. So, again, Adesanya just proves even more that it's hard to bet against him. And I honestly don't see anyone beating him right now in the division. I think he's going to be there for a while. And, hats off to him for a great fight. And hats off to Vettori for giving him a great fight and going for it. But he did the best that he could have done in the situation. He's just not there yet. And he's got to clean up some of his style and have a closer match maybe next time, maybe in the future. But getting another match with Adesanya is not going to be easy for him. But he is a great fighter, and I was very impressed that he went out there and fought like he did, and it wasn't just all talk. He 100% believed he was going to win the fight. He 100% believed he was going to get him down and hold him, and he went for it. So hats off to Adesanya. Great win for him. Great card. Fantastic from top to bottom. Extremely entertaining. The Riddell-Dober fight, just to go back a little bit into the prelims, another outstanding fight. I mean, Dober was just dominating the beginning, and Riddell just came back and was just showed such composure and resolve and fortitude to just be so strong mentally and take all that Dober had and then dish it right back with those just crisp technique punches with speed. So just a great card. It's so awesome to watch as a fan, and it was great to do this recap. I hope you appreciated my opinion and my recap here. Let me know in the comments what you think. I don't do a lot of recaps, but certain cards I want to do for you guys, and then your feedback's going to tell me whether I should continue doing these or not. So let me know what you think. I'm putting out a lot of content. We've been averaging one interview put out every 2.5 days. So I've been putting a lot of content out for you guys. So if you want to support the show and you want to help us out and show my sponsors that we're making a difference here, you go to manscaped.com, manscaped.com. Use code QUICK. You get 20% off and you get free shipping. I'll make it quick and easy. I won't blow this thing up with a big ad at the end. But manscaped.com, code QUICK. Support the show. And we got an online store coming up in 1 week from now where you can actually buy merch. We got some really cool designs. If you look at the Tyron Woodley podcast, we showed the shirt, the new monkey podcast shirt. It's really cool. So you guys can actually buy shirts from AK Thailand and from the podcast online, delivered via DHL anywhere in the world. It's only going to take like a week or so to get to you. Thailand's usually notoriously hard for shipping, but we figured it out, and we got a nice account with DHL. So we're looking out for you guys that want to support us, and we appreciate it. We're growing. It's been a good year, a little over a year that we've been pushing hard on the podcast, and we've noticed significant changes, and we greatly appreciate it. So thank you for all the support, and we will see you soon with another great podcast.
Real quick with Swick.